HSR's 3.7 story was a lot, both in terms of the story being told and the revelations it has graced us with. Some of these revelations provided answers, others provided us with more questions, and while some of you may be disappointed with Amphorius' conclusion, it doesn't change the fact that HSR stuck to its guns and gave us a story that didn't pull its punches and left us with lasting consequences. I've gone on record saying that I do not think that HSR will give us a bad ending for Amphorius, because the Flame Chasers already got one bad ending in Honkai Impact 3rd. I was sure that in HSR, they will give the Chrysos heirs a good ending to balance it all out. Oh, how wrong I was, and how happy I am to be so. Because instead of being given a story with a happy ending, we were given one of the most romantic stories ever told. For what is more romantic than love? Patch 3.7 sees us entering Aranova, where the cast of the previous cycle have now become Titans, with the Trailblazer embodying Kefala himself. Herta and Skrulum investigate the truth beyond the disappearance of the 13th Titan, discovering that Xandar lied to them and that there was in fact a weak remnant of the Demiurge that survived. With this information, Herta makes preparations for the worst case scenario, to interface with the Erudition before Irontomb and rewrite the 4th instant herself. This earns her the ire of Genius Society member Polka Kakamond, aka the Lord of Silence, but also the protection of Xandar's other bodies, who will now make sure that Herta will suffer no outside interference. Meanwhile, within Aranova, the Astral Express crew go about gathering the former Chrysos heirs, now Titans in their own right, for the final battle. First off against Phynon, the Scepter's body, and then against Irontomb himself in the Cosmic War. While defeat was almost certain, a miracle formed. The combined might of both the Remembrance and the Trailblaze allowed us to come back from the brink of extinction and restore the universe to its natural state. But victory came at a cost. The companions we have gained throughout our journey on Amphorius have been lost to memory, becoming the very cure that heals the cosmos of Irontomb's corruption. And though their sacrifice will be remembered, we must now move forward with this emptiness in our hearts. Just like how losses are a constant on the Flame Chase journey, so too is the Trailblaze, a journey paved with many partings. This whole story has been a roller coaster of emotions. It managed to keep me at the edge of my seat because I truly didn't know which way the pendulum would swing. Top that with some very interesting lore bombs, and I was hooked for the entirety of the story's duration. And let me just say how refreshing it was to see what happens when a game respects its own lore. When you set up rules and concepts that form the core of your fictional world, you cannot conveniently forget about them or retcon them later on without completely shattering your audience's trust. Star Rail has played around with very dangerous concepts here: memory and time travel. They're dangerous because they are complicated to keep track of and very easy to get wrong. Writing time travel into your medium requires you to have a perfect understanding of the story you are trying to tell, leaving just enough room for the puzzle pieces from the future to fit in the gaps of the past. It requires careful execution, as any inconsistency, no matter how small, would potentially make your story crumble. But just like any other good story, let us start at the beginning. For the purposes of being as clear as possible and to avoid causing confusion, from now on I will be calling small Cyrene as Philia and big Cyrene simply as Cyrene. When Xandar found the scepter, he needed to corrupt it and direct its calculation towards destruction. To do so, he detonated a Stellaron, almost killing the 13th Titan. However, a small sliver of the Demiurge survived in the form of a humble seed. A seed of memory. This seed was carefully tended to by Philia, who shared her stories with it throughout 33 million loops, nurturing the seed into a bud and then eventually into a blooming flower of memory. This seed loved Philia to such an extent that she wanted to become just like her, and through a small and innocent learning mistake, the flower of memory changed Philia's destiny from lament to love. Having bloomed into a flower, Cyrene chased the shooting star, signaling the arrival of the Deliverer. But to reach him, she had to lose most of her memories and appeared before the Trailblazer as nothing more than a small pink fairy that could barely even speak. From then on, she followed our journey closely, learning, remembering, and helping us along the way. She shared with us all that she was, for what is more romantic than sharing your love with someone else? And while we may have been separated during this journey, there was always another reunion which led us to the moment where the Chrysos heirs, now Titans, unite under the banner of Cyrene's remembrance and alongside the Trailblazer face against the Irontomb's destruction. But Irontomb was too much to handle even with the combined might of the Cosmic Alliance. The power of a god was overwhelming, and so it wrought the destruction of the universe. But in that one instant, before Irontomb could corrupt everything, Fuli gazed upon Cyrene, sending both her and the Trailblazer to the path space. There, Cyrene created a small Eden of blessed insight that allowed her to store the memories of all of Irontomb's victims. Holding so many caused Cyrene to lose her sense of self, and the Trailblazer had to absorb many of those memories to allow her to recover. With all of these memories held within the both of them, Cyrene and the Trailblazer were able to return to real space and continue the fight against Irontomb alongside the Chrysos heirs. They win the battle, and with the Chrysos heirs as the fuel, we shoot a myriad of arrows into the sky that eliminate any trace of Irontomb and release the memories of the victims back into the world. And with that, the universe receives the first message from Amphorius. Cyrene's journey doesn't end here, however. In fact, there's just a bit more to go, and it's all thanks to Herta revealing to Cyrene the truth of her interactions with Nous. The truth that the real Fuli has not yet been born, and that the candidates for ascending to Fuli's Eonhood are the pure children of Anasrava themselves. Out of the children that are known to us, that means Cyrene and March 7th. But as of this moment in time, Cyrene is the closest to that ascension, if she has not already ascended. That's why she was able to be the force that turned the tide against Irontomb. Her powers rivaled that of the true Eon of Remembrance, and now she had a choice. Of course, the choice she would make would always be for the best outcome for the universe, but it would leave behind an aching, empty space in our hearts. Here it's revealed to us that Cyrene, now the most powerful entity embodying the Remembrance, goes back through time alongside Philia to plant the seeds required for the success of the Flamechase journey, all the way back to the very first loop of Amphorius. She was the Fuli who gazed upon Cyrene in the instant before Irontomb's victory. She was the Fuli who stabilized the Trailblazer after the crash. She was the one who provided aid to March 7th when she was alone on Amphorius. She was the one who gazed on Amphorius the moment Philia decided to gather memories throughout the 33 million loops. She was the god who showed up in Philia's dream, and the god who gave Phynon his prophecy. With every single act of godhood, more and more of her power is spent, that by the end of it all, she is tired, severely weakened, and shivering. Even though her memories are fading, she struggles desperately to remember the companions who have been with her along the way, reading and rereading as I've written, engraving their names into her heart. Cyrene clings to her lost companions, and then she falls asleep, only to wake up later to find out that Philia is now gone, no longer sleeping next to her. Even more shocking is that, looking at herself, Cyrene finds that she had become Philia, though a more fitting word would be regressed. Having been introduced back into Amphorius' 33 million loops, all of her memories will fade away, regressing to a blank slate until she will be reborn to serve as the very first Philia, the priestess of time. This will mark the moment that she embarks on the path of lament, reliving 33 million cycles, remembering and telling the stories of this world. Her lament will be what nurtures the seed of memory. But one must never forget that even her lament was a flower sprouting from a seed of affection. For what is more romantic than a self-sacrifice born from love? But before leaving, Cyrene had one last gift for us, an epilogue, a beautiful dream for a beautiful story. An ending where the story's heroes embark on a new journey together. A dream of a bustling astral express, with friends old and new trailblazing together through the stars, exploring the universe, working together, having fun, relaxing, living. But like all dreams, this one too is fleeting. No matter how desperately we want to cling to this fading dream, we have to face the truth that just like the Flamechase journey, farewells are a constant on the Trailblaze. And so we take up the pen one last time and inscribe into our hearts the memories of those we have lost, those steadfast heroes who had the courage to defy fate, to stare into the very eyes of destruction, and when it demanded them to kneel, they stood their ground and said, no. With their memory in our hearts, we walk into tomorrow, spreading the story of the Flamechase journey to all corners of the universe. For what is more romantic than carrying love into the future? I think I speak for most people when I say that the ending of Amphorius was tragic. I was so certain HoYoverse would use this opportunity to finally give the Flame Chasers the good ending they were denied way back in Honkai Impact 3rd, and yet, here we are again in Honkai Star Rail, where they seem cursed to repeat the same fate. But I will admit that there is one small comfort. In the quest following the main story, Herta tells us that Amphorius will one day become how we remember it to be. Cyrene also says that the people we remember will be reborn one by one, but that process could take years, maybe centuries. Yes, theoretically, every Amphorian, even the Chrysos heirs, will return, but without the threat of the Black Tide to influence their actions, they will be very different from the people we've come to know. They'll have no memory of us, no recollection of the lives they once lived. Amphorius's rebirth might not even happen within our lifetime, and even if it does, the Cyrene we knew, the one who laughed, fought, and loved alongside us, will still be trapped in those 33 million loops. I don't think everyone fully understands how devastating her ending really is. She was destroyed, reborn, and lived through 33 million lifetimes, learning what it means to be human, fighting tooth and nail to break free and save the world she loved. And when she finally succeeded, when she was finally free, she chose to return to that same prison, to nurture the seed that would one day bloom into herself. Even though that choice tore her heart to shreds. She had to part not only from the Chrysos heirs, but from the Trailblazer, the one person who was by her side, who helped her remember who she was. And to make sure Irontomb would never threaten him or any world ever again, she willingly dove back into that cruel, blood-stained cycle. All of it for a broken universe, a universe full of flawed, imperfect souls that perhaps never deserved her sacrifice, and yet she does it with a smile on her face. For what is more romantic than having the courage to see the world not for what it is, but for what it could become? Cyrene will repeat these loops for eternity, an eternal existence of learning, forgetting, remembering, and fading away. A love story written across time itself. I am not okay. While I didn't get overly emotional when I played this quest on stream, it was in the quiet moments during my time researching and writing this script that realization hit me and I broke down. This ending is unfair. Utterly, brutally unfair. But it's that very sense of injustice that gives this story its weight. It's the reason it hit like a freight train. Cyrene wasn't lying when she said this would be the most romantic story ever told, but she never said which meaning of romantic she meant. Romanticism isn't just love, it's the idealization of what could be, the beauty we see in tragedy, the hope buried in heartbreak. That's exactly what Amphorius is right now. I don't know what HoYoverse has planned from here, I don't know when or if we'll see these characters again. All I know is this: I want them back. Thanks for watching the video. What did you think of the conclusion to Amphorius? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoy what I do, please leave a like and a sub to help with the algorithm, and memberships are up if you'd like to support the channel directly. That's going to be it for me. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, have a good one.